Everyone wants to live an inspired life, yet so many people search for happiness following the footsteps of peers and taking advice from people who have different values and outcomes to which they're searching. There are people born into wealth, graduated from the best universities in the world, and there are people who have none of that and yet are living extraordinary lives full of fulfillment and reward. The purpose of this podcast is to share insights and strategies that allow you to question the status quo and think freely, so you can design your life and be who you want to be. We get one life. Time is our most valuable asset. I believe that when we're free and able to focus on meaningful work, we become better human beings. This is Always Free, and I'm your host, Jason Graystone.
Welcome to the leading podcast for financial empowerment and wealth creation. Subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. You can connect with Jason on social media and subscribe to the Jason Graystone YouTube channel for weekly videos. Don't forget to also subscribe to the weekly newsletter to receive frequent educational content and action steps to help you design your life so you can be who you want to be. For news on all future events and updates, go to jasongraystone.com.
Well, welcome to the podcast, guys. Hope you've had a good week. Hopefully you're looking forward to the weekend. And if you're here for the first time, this is the number one podcast for financial empowerment and wealth creation. And maybe you're here because someone's recommended you. Maybe you've seen some of the posts on Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn. Maybe you're seeing it on Facebook. And hopefully you've my message and my kind of esoteric approach to wealth creation has kind of resonated with you in some way. And you've seen that actually, you know, what this guy is talking about is something that's tangible and achievable. And that's kind of how I like to break it down. And that's what I've been doing throughout this series of podcasts. So if you're listening to this as the first one, I really do highly recommend that you stop listening now and go back to episode 1 and start there. Okay, whether you're in the gym, you're on a walk, you're commuting to work, I really do encourage you to go and start from the beginning, because I've kind of built this out in a certain order for a reason. Because it's all a strategy based on my own personal life. And in this one, I'm going to go into trading. And this is literally the first episode that I've really gone into trading in depth. So that's kind of how important that the rest of the episodes are, because it reflects the strategies that I used in my life and when I got to trading, and why I got to it at that certain time in my life and how I used it to become financially free. But all of the rest of the strategies are so important as well. So in this one, I'm not going to go too much into the technicals of trading, but I want to kind of introduce you to trading and why I got into it and kind of what I found out about it, okay? And since I've worked with literally thousands and thousands of traders all over the world, I've now got some really solid insights that I can share with people, and that has been backed up by, you know, data analysts from universities. And you know, I've been recognized by Forbes magazine and featured in Forbes magazine because of that. So why did I get into trading? Well, I really got into it because it was the last piece of the puzzle. It was the speculation piece of the puzzle that was going to allow to add that touch of volatility to my equity curve, to boost it up, to grow it quicker and replace my income. I was very, very frustrated at the time that I got into trading. I was looking at poker, I was looking at options, and I ended up getting into the financial markets, and I blew a lot of money, you know, initially. And to be honest with you, I don't know one successful trader that hasn't blown a lot of money when getting into trading. But my goal is to kind of share a message with you so that you can figure out what didn't work for me and what hasn't worked for many, many others, so that you can sort of bypass that and you don't make the same mistakes. So if you are getting into it, you can not do some of the things that I'm going to advise that you don't do. But really, it was a means to an end for me. It was a way, or I thought it was a means to an end. I thought, I just want to get out of this frustration and I need to do it quick. So I need to add this volatility, but it ended up taking me a lot longer than it could have had I learnt the right way. And you know, there's times when it was very, very hard. When I was learning to trade, it was very, very hard. Some of you have seen a picture of me asleep on my sofa with the laptops out, and that was a photo that my wife took, and it was one of many that she took when, you know, she would find me backtesting and I would literally neglect my family all day with the belief in my own head that I was going to be successful at it. And I had the doubt creeping in from everyone around me. Her family was saying, are you sure he's all right? Are you sure are you sure he just hasn't got a problem? Or, are you sure? And she started to doubt me. And there were many times when she went to bed alone and they would go to sleep, and then I'd start my trading education, and I would start doing that from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning every single day, and then get up and run a business. And it was hard, it was probably the hardest time in my life. And this isn't something that people will tell you. All these gurus out there, these Forex educators, they don't really portray it this way. And it was bloody hard, I'm telling you. It was, it was the first time where our relationship, which we've been together 16 years now, 17 years, was really under strain. It was really under strain, and I've taken a lot of risks in my life, and as they've paid out, she's kind of trusted me more and more. But this one really did take the biscuit, and we were close to. I hate to say it, but we were close to divorce. At that time, it was a tough time. And recently we met a load of the traders. I did a workshop in Ireland, and my wife came along, and we were talking openly about that, because we don't want people to believe that it's this easy kind of airy fairy get rich quick idea, because it isn't. Okay, but then on the flip side, if you do it right, the payoff is absolutely ginormous. Okay, so when you think about people that go all of their life and they're studying and trying to climb some kind of ladder, and they spend their entire life, and by the end they're halfway through their life before they're even sort of 50 grand, 60 grand, 100 grand a year. And people go to work all of their life to do that, and they train for long times at university, and and then it feels surreal, because you watch how hard those people work and how long they spend on their craft and climbing those ladders, and you can click a few buttons and make the average annual salary in a couple of hours. It's quite astonishing and mind shifting when that happens. In fact, I've been trading for years, many years I've been trading for. My wife's always known I've been a trader, obviously. And even just up until recently, we was in the Maldives last Christmas. Actually, it was we went to the Maldives twice last year, one at Christmas and once in the March before, just me and the wife. And we were sitting at the bar, we were sipping some cocktails, and we were surrounded by the Indian Ocean. We were in this most beautiful surrounding, this beautiful setting. And she said, "Oh, you're going to do some trading?" And I said, "I just have to manage some long-term positions that I'm on." And I placed 2 trades in the morning, and as we sat there in the bar, kind of by this surreal experience and setting and environment of this beautiful island, and we're sipping these cocktails, and I closed the trades off, and the 2 trades that I'd taken in the morning paid for the entire holiday. And it wasn't until that point, even though I've been with my wife for so long and I've been trading for so long, it only then did her mind shift, because it's like, oh my God, like you actually pulled money out of the market by clicking some buttons, by a skill that you've developed, and there's no customers, and you just literally pulled the money and paid for this holiday, and you don't have to be anywhere in the world to do that. You can be literally anywhere in the world to do that. And it was a massive eye-opener. And it's those kind of times where it feels like, wow, you really, really do appreciate getting through all that hard time, because it really does pay off. So I'm not going to say it's all hard and horrible. The payoff's massive, but a lot of people don't want to put in the work to get to the payoff. And it's when you think about how long you go to train to be a doctor or a carpenter or a surgeon or a vet. You go to university for 5, 6, 7 years, and college and uni, and you then have to go out in the field and get experience, and and you definitely can't learn to do that on YouTube. So when people go into trading, they expect that they're going to go and learn it in a couple of days. They're going to go to some 2-day course, pay a couple of grand, and, within a week, they're going to be raking in the money. And it just doesn't happen like that. Okay. There's efficient ways of going about it. And that isn't the most efficient way, because what you're going to do is you do that over and over and over and over again. And that's not what we want. That's what I want you guys to do, particularly those of you who are interested in that sort of thing. Okay, you've probably never seen me talk about how easy it is, and that's because I never ever talk about that. There's enough people talking about how easy it is. I don't feel like I've got to fill that space. So in this podcast, I want to give you a balanced insight. Okay, a balanced insight. I find that I get results from my clients by giving them realistic expectations, and trading's bloody hard. It is hard. So first of all, when you get into trading, there are lots of hidden benefits. Obviously, it's a very attractive vehicle for building wealth and income. Okay, there's lots of hidden benefits, like you kind of, as you're learning to trade, you're starting to think like other people. Okay, so it makes you more understanding, because as you try and work out the markets and think like other traders, you're thinking in terms of how other people are thinking. So it makes you more understanding all around, and it also makes you more objective. It makes you more straight, and people like certainty, right? So they want to know where they stand with you. Trading forces you into objectivity. There's no if or maybe, right? You can't be half pregnant. And trading makes you, it's all about if then. It's yes or no's, it's ones and zeros, and it makes you very, very objective, which people love. And you become more objective in your life, which people build trust for you a lot more. It also makes you think of in long term. Okay, so it makes you not worry about kind of short-term failures. It makes you think much longer term, because you're basing your return over a long period of time, and you're thinking in terms of averages, in terms of trade by trade wins. So you get rid of that FOMO, fear of missing out, where you feel like you should be in a trade, or you want to break your rules to get into a trade because you're thinking long term. There's no FOMO involved. It also makes you a master of risk, okay, because you take your risk calculations to the next level, which that alone has managed to help me transform businesses, okay, positive sum businesses. I've worked with businesses and transformed businesses because of my ability to calculate risk at a different scale. And when you can calculate risk at a different scale, it really is a skill that will allow you to thrive in business, because you take your comfort zone in business to a new level. And you're able to have a level head, because whilst there's lots of chaos going on in the outside world, you've managed to keep poised and calm, and you can see things clearly. So that alone, has really, really helped me, and it helps you kind of, it just helps you all round. It helps you all round. The other thing is, obviously, there's no shop, no staff. There's very little overheads. You don't have to have a property to rent or buy or anything like that. And above all, it's the best accelerator for wealth, in my opinion. Okay, it's the fastest and most efficient accelerator for wealth, in my opinion, and that is if you do it right. Okay, and then obviously it allows you to free up your time, because as I said, in the Maldives, we're just trading from anywhere. I can have a Wi-Fi connection and I can trade, I can keep my eye on the markets, and I don't promote that initially, and this is the first time you've probably ever heard me talk about this in this way, because there's enough people promoting it that way, and it's just rubbish. It's tosh, because they're selling the byproduct. Okay, they're not selling the importance of learning the skill and kind of how hard it is to develop a system, and the work you have to put in. So, but it allows you to free up your time. Now, there is a myth there, though. As you free up your time, people seem to think that trading is a means to an end. Well, I thought that, but that was because I was so frustrated. Once you then become successful at trading, you've got a lot of free time. Trust me, all of a sudden, all of the testing you've been doing and work you've been doing, you go live, and that's it. Your trading can take an hour a day, 10 minutes a day, and it really does. My swing trading takes me 10 minutes every single day. And if I wasn't trading in a live room and teaching people in a live room and trading an account in there every day, I would only be trading for about half hour per day maximum. So it really does free up your time. But where people make the mistake is they think that that's going to be it for them, and they think, oh, when I get good at trading, that's it. That's the end. I'm just going to trade, and that is it. Well, imagine doing trading for 30 minutes a day, and what do you do with the rest of your day? Okay, imagine what that looks like, because with trading, there's no time for money correlation. You can trade all day at your charts, or you can trade for half an hour at your charts, and it doesn't matter. You can still earn as much money trading for half an hour as you do all day, because all you'll do when you're trading all day is have more opportunities, but you'll have more losses as well. You'll have wins and losses. So you can earn the same amount trading 8 hours a day as you can 10 minutes a day. So think about what your life looks like there, and you'll start to understand why I really don't get it when people say, oh, if you're so good at trading, why do you help others? Why are you building businesses? Why are you charging for education? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And that's exactly the reason. If you think you're just going to sit there and do nothing, you're delusional. Okay, humans naturally want to serve, and if you're that selfish that once you become good at trading, you think you're just going to sit there and not serve anyone or help anyone, then, well, good on you. But for me, I want to make a difference in the world, and really trading was a way to free up my time so I could focus even more on creating valuable products, services and systems to then filter into my wealth building system. I'm literally preaching what I practice here. Okay, so yes, I want to build more businesses. Yes, I want to go and serve people. Yes, I want to get that fair exchange, and yes, I want to grow my wealth as well. So if you think you're going to sit and have cocktails for the rest of your life when you become good at trading, just know that won't happen. When I started trading successfully and I was getting really, really good at trading, all of a sudden I had all this free time. I started playing guitar a lot. But I also found that I had strained eyes from looking at the chart so much. It was the first time since I was a kid that I had to go and get my eyes tested. And I had kind of I've got 20/20 vision, but one of my eyes is slightly shorter sighted than the other. So because I'm looking at screens all day, one of my eyes was doing more work than the other, so I had to go and get glasses. I then started to gain weight because I was getting bored, and I would go to the fridge, and then everyone else was at work, so I didn't have anyone to talk to. My wife was doing her thing and running errands and going to the gym, and my kids were at school and my friends were at work, and that started to make me feel like I wasn't doing any work and I should be doing more. And I found it difficult to start working from home. Okay, that was another challenge in itself, and I had to kind of get this ritual going where I'd go out in the morning, get a coffee from the garage, come back so it felt like I'd left the house, to come back, go straight into my office like I'd arrived at my office. And it was a real, difficult mindset challenge that I had to overcome. So, again, benefits and drawbacks. There's always, when you move into a new part of your life, there's always going to be challenges, and these were the new challenges. One of the things, I felt like I should be doing more. I always felt like I should be doing more. I felt guilty. There's been 2 times now where I've literally hit trades that have banked, the average annual salary in one trade, and literally dumped into my bank, and that's taken an hour. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, what do I do now? I feel like I should be doing more, and you get this kind of guilt set in. So there's all these kind of challenges, but let me, and the reason I've given you it in this way is because I want you to feel balanced about trading. I don't want you to be infatuated with the benefits of trading, and I don't want you to feel, discouraged or put off by the drawbacks of trading and by the kind of work that you need to put in. I want to balance this here because it really does pay off. It really, really does pay off. The reason that people go into it and don't succeed is because they don't take into consideration the full picture. They don't have everything they need to succeed. They go after one thing, either a tool or they'll go into a signal service, or they'll be asking for buy signals and sell signals from someone. They might try and download an app and try and just click buy and sell. The other thing they focus on is just a course. They buy a course and they think a trading course is going to help them learn to trade, and it doesn't. It really doesn't, because a course is just some piece of education that might not fit with your personality. Okay, there's no accountability there. Your brain is deleting, distorting, and generalizing information in the course, and you're going to be rushing through it, and you're going to think that you've learnt stuff that you haven't learnt important parts of, and you're going to skip it, and you're going to make mistakes. So they don't really work either. And then the other thing people focus on is just a community, where they join some crypto community or forex community or some forum, and everyone's typing in ideas and opinions, and of course you end up going through that, taking trades that you don't even know why you're taking them. Everyone's got a different opinion. You've got kind of a bias. You haven't got a bias, you're just kind of led by everyone else, and it's poison. Okay, it's poison to your trading. And in reality, you really need all three of those things. You need a decent community, you need the right tools, and you need a winning strategy. Otherwise, you haven't got an edge. So once you've got all those, it's really important that you have the following. Okay, realistic expectations. You need to know your numbers so that you know what you're aiming for, instead of having this daunting kind of in the sky goal of something that you may never even get to, because you don't even know why you're getting to it. Secondly, you need to be efficient. You need to stop jumping system to system to system. There's tons and tons of strategies out there, and they probably all work. The reason they don't work for you is because of you. Okay, you do not need to keep going system to system to system. It's shiny object syndrome, and that kills traders. I always say, imagine trying to learn all the different martial arts at once, and you try and get a black belt in all martial arts at once. It's not going to happen. It's going to take you years and years, whereas if you focus on one, you'll become a black belt in 3-4 years. It's the same with trading. Just focus on that system and make that work. So don't keep jumping system to system. Stop taking greater losses than you need to. Okay, you need to be efficient at getting out of trades when you're wrong. You need to stop paying the broker unnecessary commissions because you're taking loads and loads and loads of low quality trades. That's not efficient. You need appreciation. Okay, so you need to appreciate your own personality, your weak spots, your strengths. And the reason you need to appreciate your personality is because the system that you develop is going to be based on a reward to risk ratio, your opportunities in the market, because you're going to feel like you want opportunities in the market, and the strike rate, how often you're right over wrong. And those three things are going to be based around your personality and your lifestyle. Okay. The next thing in appreciation is to exercise gratitude along the way, because it's just numbers, and sometimes you can get a bit deflated feeling like you haven't really learnt much. What I suggest is, write down what you've learnt and go over that every 3 months. What was hard 3 months ago that you now know? What have you learnt in the last 3 months? And continue to do that to get, momentum, motivation and inspiration that you're moving forward. If you don't do that, you can become a bit deflated, and you can get a bit depressed. The next thing is accountability. Okay, self-accountability, external accountability. Get around a group to check in with who are on the same path, same journey. I met traders at a prop firm from New York, Wall Street, and one of the traders says, "Listen, if it wasn't for my team in my prop firm, I wouldn't be where I am today." Purely because I wouldn't have the accountability. I wouldn't have people checking in with me, looking over my shoulder. Remember, with trading, it's just you against the market. It's just you against the market. So there's no one else to blame. So having accountability to kind of get a bird's eye or fly on the wall view on what you're doing is so important. So you don't have that proximity bias or that kind of fatigue in your own trading. You've got someone watching out for you. Okay, the next thing is to learn the right way. Learn a strategy to suit your personality, as I said, and your lifestyle. And it's important that you don't try and force it into your lifestyle. And you also want to learn a strategy that has a winning, that has a positive expectancy. Otherwise, there's absolutely no point trading that system. And do you know how to test it? Probably not, which is why testing's so important. But we'll get onto that in a minute. Next thing is listen. You're going to be able to listen to the market. You're going to have to know how to adapt in the market and understand when's right to adapt your position or your bias or your approach to the market. Get a mentor, okay? Get a mentor and literally bug the hell out of them. And what I'm a big fan of is asking what doesn't work. Why didn't you do that? Why did you change that? Why did you stop doing that? Because so many people try and ask for the golden bullet or the silver bullet, and they're trying to figure out what does work, but you're going to try and find that anyway. So by asking what doesn't work, you're going to shave off a heck of a lot of learning curves. If you imagine your learning curve is kind of like a wiggly line from bottom left to top right, every dip is a setback, and every dip is where you're going out and trying to learn new stuff. And you're making mistakes. If you can shave some of that off, well, then the route to success is much quicker. So I'm much more of a fan of asking what doesn't work than what does work. And lastly, don't be an arsehole, okay? An arsehole is someone who gets a mentor, asks for advice, and does the complete opposite of what they're told. And, it's you're never going to get anywhere doing that. All right, next thing's testing, as I said. Test what you've learned. It gives you confidence. It gives you discretion. It helps build your reticular activating system so you can identify patterns better. And if you ever go on to get investors to invest money, well, then you've got a solid backtested plan that you can show them and demonstrate to them what's worked historically and what's going to work in the future and what your projected ROI is, worst case and best case scenario. Next things, have a trade plan. Okay, so a trade plan, if you don't have one, you have to have one. It's your business plan. Think about, if you think about McDonald's, they've got a policy. Every business has got a policy, and the policy dictates what you should do in that business to generate a profit. Well, that's exactly the same in a trading business, okay? There's a profit and loss, and that all comes from having a plan. And if we stick to this plan, these are our overheads, this is our profit, this is our loss, and we just stick to that, and we know we're in profit. So important to have a trade plan. So then if you do all of that, if you do everything I've been over in this podcast, and I appreciate I've been speaking fast and going through a lot of stuff and a lot to take in, maybe re-listen to this back, but it's inevitable to have the result after that. If you do everything I've just said, the result's inevitable. You will be a successful trader. It's inevitable. And then once you are, that's when you can decide to have everything you want, help anyone you want, and you can even hedge, okay? So you take a piece of your investment portfolio, if you've been passively investing, and you put it into speculation, and you can grow accelerated and long-lasting generational wealth. So I've been going on for a bit now, and I kind of just want to finish off by saying, no matter if you're going into trading, if you're really dedicated and you're going into trading, it's still so important to have your money and your wealth game together. Because recently I was over in Las Vegas and I was speaking to a trader who's earning 7-figure income after tax from trading. He works on a prop desk, and he came to me and he said, "I'm interested in your Tears of Freedom program." And I said, "That's really cool. Why do you need to be? What's the reason for it?" And he said, "Well, I don't have much money." And the guy is earning 7 figures per year, but has no money. He has no way of managing his wealth. He's very, very volatile. He goes out and spends all his money in the New York clubs. And every week he comes in, he gets his check. He does well in trading, and he raises his lifestyle, and he blows his money. And he is no better off than the paper boy, who I spoke about in the previous episodes. And it's astonishing. It really is astonishing. So it's so important to build the foundation first. And my advice is to start at that foundation. Get the system built, then build wealth on top of that. And that's exactly what the Tears of Freedom program does. So tier 1 is at the top, but there's tier 3 and tier 2, which most people leave out. And that's all about building your system, setting your system so it's automated, getting your personal finances in order, automating that whole process, getting your mindset right, doing some passive investing, building a foundation of wealth, growing your income, accelerating your savings, and then growing your income, and then going into speculation. And that is the most sustainable and successful way to grow long-lasting wealth. So if you're interested in the Tears of Freedom program, we're taking in the next group of members on the 12th of December 2019, and we're going to be taking in 26 people. All you need to do to apply is go to the link that's in this podcast, below the podcast, in the description, and you can apply to be on the program. And I hope to see you in there. You can also join the Facebook group, which is tiersoffreedom.com/mastermind. So that's it for this week, guys. Until next week, have a great rest of your day and weekend, and I'll see you then.
Subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. For news on all future events and updates, go to jasongraystone.com.